I'm joined by Michael Cole, former BBC royal correspondent, and I'm pleased to say a regular on this programme. It's been a very long time since a member of the royal family appeared at a court.
Well, back 130 years ago, to the great dismay of Queen Victoria, her eldest son, the Prince of Wales, had to appear in a court case involving cheating at cards, baccarat. And he'd also, previous to that, been in a case involving adultery, the Mordaunt case. Now, in his day, that prince was known as Dirty Bertie, and later Edward the Caresser. So he had a little bit of form, but it was very, very unwise of Prince Harry to follow his example of his great-great-great-grandfather to go into the witness box here because, you know, this was D-Day for the Prince of Litigation. He's got 5 cases going in this country alone. Went the day well? I would say it did not go well. The hurt he feels is raw. The belief he has in what he's saying is profound. The anger he has is incandescent, but belief is not proof. It is not evidence, and this case will turn on evidence. And what he's got to do, and it's an uphill struggle, and I'm quite surprised how ill-prepared it seems to me, or ill-informed, he's got to...
He didn't seem to be on top of the brief.
Well, I think you put it well there, and kindly, too. I don't think he's been well prepared because he's going to have to try, and we're only at half-time, let's be fair.
Yeah.
It could turn round tomorrow. But he's got to try and prove in these 33 different cases that the Mirror Group newspapers used illicit, illegal means, phone hacking and other horrible means to get these stories. Now, so far, and I've read through the whole of the transcript of the testimony, I don't think he's put a glove on them. And to go into a Colosseum like this, unarmed, as it seems to me, is foolishness. Now, I've written about this in the past. I advised very strongly against it. Don't go there. I'm sure if his grandmother, the Queen, was still alive, she would have said that's the last thing you're possibly going to do. Because in a court case like that, you don't know where the cross-examination is going to go. You've mentioned 2 of the areas that it's already gone into. There'll be others. Yeah. It will be very, very, very damaging to him. And if you haven't got the means to demonstrate that illicit means were used to invade your privacy and that of your friends, well, I'm afraid you're going to look not very convincing.
I think
and the thing is, it's not, you know, if it was a jury trial, Nigel, then he would get a lot of sympathy from the jury. But it's not. It's going to be decided by the judge. And the judge can only base it upon the evidence that's adduced. And so far, I don't see there's any evidence that's been adduced.
Nor do I. I feel he's onto a loser. Well, I'm joined now also by Adham Harker, Associate Solicitor, Media and Communications Law Department at Brett Wilson, LLP. Adham, he has to actually prove something, doesn't he, in court?
Well, he does. It's his case to prove. He's brought the claim. It seems at the moment that the case rests on inference and that he's trying to say that there's nowhere else credible that this information can have come from. There's an inequality of information available to him. People very rarely have explicit evidence of hacking. And in this case in particular, he's resting on the failure by Mirror Group to use as witnesses and produce witness statements from the journalists concerned.
I mean, he may well be right. You know, I was part of the hacking case with the Murdoch press. I know that Michael was as well. I actually had proof because I went to my mobile provider and I saw that somebody had accessed my phone records. But he doesn't... Yes, even if he's right, he has to prove this in court. What are, Adam, what are the consequences for Harry not winning this case?
Well, the first one will be reputational. His credibility for the allegations he makes against the press will be diminished. And cost is the obvious other one.
And what... I mean, have you any idea in a ballpark what something like this might cost if you lose?
Single-figure millions. Maybe 1.5, £2 million, something like that. There are 4 claims being tried together. So although we're now in Prince Harry's phase, we've already had another phase with Michael Lavelle, and I think Fiona Whitehouse is to come next.
And if he wins?
He'll feel vindicated in the allegations he's made, the allegations of unlawful information gathering, which extend beyond phone hacking in this case. It's being described as a phone hacking trial, and that is a lot of it. But the term that is used in court today is unlawful information gathering. It includes covert surveillance and other now prescribed journalistic practices.
But they weren't then.
I'm not sure that's necessarily relevant to his claim now, because it's the misuse of his private information, ultimately, that is his claim.
And he's also facing, in America, today, on the same day, we have an action brought by the Heritage Foundation and demanding to see what was written on his visa application apropos his drug taking. I mean, if you've lied in America, that would be very serious indeed.
I can only assume it would be. Immigration's not my forte, I'm afraid, but I understand there are very strict rules about entry into the US, especially for indefinite.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, process. You know, Michael mentioned the fact it's not a jury trial, so we have a full day's hearing tomorrow. What can we expect from there?
We can expect more of the same, really, at least in the first part of the day. Prince Harry will continue to be cross-examined, and when a claimant's case is at its weakest is at the close of the claimant's evidence. So we expect that, I mean, it was mentioned that Harry didn't lay a glove on them today.
Yeah.
That's quite normal in this type of litigation, and it's when David Sherborne, who is Prince Harry's barrister,
yes,
cross-examines the Mirror Group's witnesses, we expect to see perhaps the tide turn a little bit, if it is going to.
Interesting. Adam, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Michael,
well, you mentioned it.
Reputationally.
Well, he's shot himself in the foot several times, because you mentioned this problem he's going to have with America, because they take these matters extremely seriously. And if you read his book, Spare, which came out on 10th of January, I mean, it's replete with accounts of smoking weed with the guys, being on the beach, being high, getting high. I mean, repeatedly. Now, the Americans take this very, very seriously indeed. We don't know what he said on his immigration form, but don't forget that, that his wife, Meghan Markle, has been naturalised as a British subject. They're both of them British, they're both living there, and this can make huge problems for them with green cards and all the rest of it, because Americans, you know, and they would probably like them as poster children to show, yeah, we do enforce the law against the high and the mighty, as well as the ordinary people swimming across the Rio Grande on the Mexican border. And so I think that's very serious. But he's condemned himself out of his own mouth. And he's admitted to these are very, very serious grade A drug offences. It's a felony. I mean, why on earth he would put that in a book? I think, I mean, when I heard that and saw it, I couldn't believe it, because it's so unwise. And I think that's going to make him major problems. It's very important for him that he does get a result out of this. I'm sure the judge will be bending over backwards to try and give him the fairest possible trial. But he can only go on the evidence that's adduced before him. And so far, he's not making any progress.
No, I agree with that.